y'all. This is Drunk in the Sun with Joe and Tom. Guess what?
We're going to get drunk and talk about everything under the sun.
Show about anything under the sun.
We didn't do that. All right, let's do it.
This episode is fire. Check us out every week on YouTube,
Instagram,
Facebook,
and Spotify.
Oh, shit. Coming at you every week.
First of all, this is for entertainment. We're not educational.
Yeah.
We're not.
If you're coming to get your education from us, you are clearly misguided.
Exactly.
But check us out. We're the show about anything and everything under the sun. Check us out. I'll show up. Like, what are you doing in there? He's like, I swear to God. Swear to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think that's legit.
I don't think it's legit either. Hey, what up, y'all, man? This is Drunken in the Sun with John. I said John? With John? No, it's Tom. Tom and Joe. God damn, how drunk am I? Hey, guys. What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just drinking. Screaming, I deserve this. What did he deserve? Fuck.
Like and subscribe so you get the notifications when we do drop something. Probably pretty fucking lame. But anyways, check it out. Drunken in the Sun, a podcast about anything and everything under the sun.
Well, Vic used to also fight.
Yeah,
He was a champ.
So did you.
Yeah, but I wasn't good at it.
You were a champ?
He was a champ.
I was, yeah.
Holy shit.
170 champ.
You know,
That's the weight I fought at.
I wouldn't want. I only did.
I would get destroyed. Vic is just like, ah!
170. I fought 205 was my first fight, and then 205, and then 185 is where I did most of my fights, and then I did
Oh, geez, back in the day.
yeah, way back in the
It's
day.
170, right?
No, I was 185.
Oh, 185.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's champ.
yeah. I did like 2 fights.
I fought that one too,
170.
and I did not look like that when I fought 185.
Nice.
Have you seen me when I fought 185? I still had blubber.
Yeah.
It was like I could have lost 20 more pounds.
It was almost like a dare. A guy at work, because I had a temper, and he found this flyer, and he's like, "There's a cage fight. You should go do it. You know, put up. See." He thought I was all talk or whatever. And I was like, "All right." So 3 weeks, I go join this gym. I dropped like 20 pounds because I was like 225 in the 3 weeks, and then the first fight.
So you went to heavyweight to light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
And
Your
I
first fight
ran
you win?
into the guy. Yeah, I did. I knocked him out in the second round.
Damn.
The first round, he had just gotten out of the army, and the first round, I spent the last 30 seconds trying to choke him out, and I completely gassed out my arms. And in between the rounds, when they face you up to go and they're like round 2 or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm literally standing there and I'm like, how am I going to fight? I can't raise my arms
Oh,
right
shit.
now. I'm like, this is not good. And it was pretty quick in the second round. I caught him and he dropped like a sack of potatoes and he kind of bounced off the cage, and I turned like this, like I won, right? And then the ref's not stopping it. And I'm like, so I literally, in one motion, I go from like this to like running over to him, and I just start blasting him a couple times. And then the ref stops it. It's like, he was out. They didn't need to take those punches.
Damn.
But yeah, that was the first fight. And then,
But that was the early days of fucking MMA too.
And
Like
that was
2000, at least 3 or 4,
3 or
right?
4, yeah, when I started.
Because I
So
remember.
that's after the wrestling day.
That was
It was
after
after
the
wrestling day.
wrestling
Because I remember I was locked up in 05 to 08,
Yeah.
and he was
You
fighting.
got into it after. You
Yeah,
got
I
out.
got it out. But you were fighting during that time when I was locked up.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
so
he
you did it
fucking-
for a couple years then.
Yeah.
For
Longer than wrestling.
I did.
Jesus. I didn't even know
I had
that.
10
We said he
fights.
fucking went on the radio from it. And
I was
shit?
on the I was on
Shit.
the Wags and Elliott show.
Huh.
That'd be tight.
There was a fight that HD Net used to do fights off cable. They came to one of our shows.
Nice.
So I did a lot better at that than I did at pro wrestling.
So how
Yeah,
many fights did
but
you
he
have?
didn't make no money on that either. You only
because I was amateur.
you never went pro, did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Jeez.
Neither did I. It was all
No.
amateur. So amateur, you got to pay your
yeah.
blood work. You got to pay for your license. Yeah, all that
Yeah.
bullshit.
Shit, and you did that for longer than wrestling.
Yep.
So it must have been cheap.
It's way cheaper.
I couldn't.
Except for
I was
gym
hooked
dues.
at it, yeah.
Did you have hefty gym dues to pay?
I had, so I went to a jiu-jitsu gym. I had a boxing coach, and then I had a
jiu-jitsu
a
150
gym.
easily right there.
No, back then I want to say it was like $80 a month.
Oh, real?
For like unlimited, and because
that's
they
nice.
would do jiu-jitsu classes, they would do wrestling classes, they would do kickboxing classes.
Oh, you went to an MMA gym?
Yeah.
Nice.
I went to I started at one. That was the one I started at. That was doing the promotion. And the head trainer there wasn't great. And then we moved on to a real MMA gym who had affiliations with George Gurgel down in Cincinnati where Rich Franklin trained and stuff like that. So I'd gone down there a couple times and trained at the Cincinnati gym. And that was a wake-up call because when you train with dudes that are at
what the fuck they do?
UFC caliber gym, and this dude, I remember this Russian guy.
Fucked up.
He was 170 pounds, just completely ripped. He grabbed onto me, and he could have did anything he wanted to because I couldn't get loose. Like his grip was like a vice grip. I'm like, well, this sucks. I guess I'm not gonna make it in the UFC, but it was fun. It was like you're a high school football player and you get on the NFL field, you get blasted by Ray Lewis, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but
This is awesome.
that grip strength comes with time.
Yeah.
That comes with time.
Yeah.
So anybody can get that grip strength. Now, know how to use it is a different thing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
anybody can get fucking strength, but in order to use it in a efficient way, is totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did all right. It was fun.
How many fights you have?
10.
10? Shit.
Yeah,
His record's probably way
6
better than
and
mine.
4.
6
See?
and 4.
Way better than
that's
mine.
nice.
Mine sucked.
How many fights do you have? You don't need to give your record.
My record was terrible.
I fought a guy who went into...
I had 11 fights.
yeah,
but it was bad. It was bad.
One of the guys I fought went into Elite XC and had a couple fights in there. He was a tough dude. That was one of the ones I fought at 170. It was hard for me to make 170.
Yeah.
Like I had to cut 11 pounds and I was shredded.
Yeah.
Like I knew a buddy that was at OSU and he's like, he was going to medical school and he's like, hey, you can get in and do the fat chamber test. They put you in a water chamber and it's like the most accurate way to test your body fat. I was 8% body fat. And I had to cut 11 pounds of water to make 170. So I was like,
that's hell.
Right. And then being amateur, you don't get that day to recover.
It's the same day. You have to weigh in the same day.
You weigh in, you've got like 2-3 hours tops.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Because usually they weigh in like 11, 1 o'clock. And then you usually don't fight. Your first fight usually until like 6.
I think they changed that because we weighed in like it was literally like 2 to 3 hours because I was usually one of the last fights, so I had that time and I was just pounding trying to hydrate. Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
we'd get there at like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Really? And weigh in that late?
Weigh in and do all that stuff.
Oh shit! It was because every weigh-in I've ever been in, it's always an athletic commission. It's late as fuck, always. So usually they're supposed to start at like 9, and they never start till like 11.
That would be great. If I could have waited at 9 o'clock in the morning and then had the rest of the day at least.
I never did. No, I never did though. It was always later. It was always 11. I never weighed in any earlier than 11 a.m. Usually it was later than that, but it was no later than fucking 2 o'clock because I remember fucking no later than maybe even 1 o'clock. Honestly, because I remember we would go eat and I would get fucking hydrated. I'd feel. There was some, because what I would do, like, when I would cut weight, I remember one fight I had in Akron, where it was a fucking 170 fight. I'd cut fucking 20, 30 pounds, like I always did, because I was a fat fuck, right? Because I was fucking 200 and some pounds, and then I'd cut down to 170, and then fucking wouldn't eat. So that day, once weigh-ins was over, I would go gorge myself, like a fucking dumbass, right? That's terrible. Because I remember sitting in this seat with my fucking gloves on and everything, waiting, because I was like 3 fights behind. I was watching this fight, and I was like, I have got a shit so
That
bad.
was my biggest fear.
And
was that I would have to take a shit right
I
before
had
it was
to.
time to go
I had
out.
to shit so bad. I mean, my gloves were signed off.
Yeah.
Because you got to get your gloves signed off.
Because you're only like a fight or two away once you get your gloves signed off.
I'm sitting there going, and I had my hood up, so I look like Darth Sidious going, I got to shit so bad. Like Luke Skywalker has no idea.
That was my biggest fear.
It was terrible, and I ended up losing that fight. And but I shouldn't have lost that fight.
Because you were clenching your ass the whole time.
Yeah, probably. But that was the one I fought in Akron, and honestly, I shouldn't have lost that fight because I had that dude. That was the first time where usually what happened was my opponent kept me on my back the entire fight. That one, I kept my opponent, except for the first round. I had him, and he got me in a triangle. Right, and then I instead of defending it like a dumbass, I'm like, dur, and then but it was like 10 seconds, it was like 15 seconds to go in the fight, so I'm like, dur, and then I ended up trying to move, and he got a mounted triangle at the last 10 seconds. I think he should have won that round, but the other 2 rounds, I won, because, dude, I had a north-south choke. At one point, I had him a north-south choke, and I know I had it deep, because when they start squirming, that's when you know that it's working. And he's like, and I'm choking him. And I'm in the red. So I was the second guy to come out. And the ref's like, Red, I'm going to stand this up. I'm like, I'm fucking choking him. So I had to let go. Because the first one went for a Darce. And I couldn't get the next. So and he turned. And that's when I switched it and turned it into a north-south. So it ended up. But that entire time, I controlled him the first 2 rounds. I still lost that fight. Oh, I was salty as fuck. Anyways, my record was terrible.
I had a little feud with this guy named Bonesaw. He was from Cincinnati.
Isn't that fucking Macho Man?
Yeah.
Spider-Man, I'm coming to get you.
Yeah.
Got you for 3.
That was the first title.
He's like, I ain't the thing.
Was Bonesaw, and that was in Columbus at the LC.
Oh shit!
And then we had a rematch down in Cincinnati, and my buddies thought we were all going to get our asses kicked because he was from Cincinnati. He had a shit ton of people there.
Yeah.
And I choked him unconscious in both fights.
Fuck yeah! Oh,
nice.
fuck.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, I got beat up by a guy that Vic trained with.
Oh, yeah?
Ernest.
Oh, yeah.
Ernest Nesson, he beat the shit out of me.
That's what you guys did fight, didn't you?
Yeah, we fought. Yeah,
he's a black belt now, I think, in jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just got his black belt.
That's what he did to me on the ground. But but when you watch it, it looks like a lot of it, but I was dodging a lot, but I got hit a lot. Because I remember one time, he clocked me like this, and it went to white, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to tie up with him but at the 3rd round, I ended up getting him an arm and neck choke, and then it was like the end of the fight, and he won that fight though. He won by decision. You know what's crazy? That fight was it was a split decision that he won. Me personally, I think he won all 3 rounds. But the refs were like, split decision, and the crowd was like, boo! I'm like, yes, this should be booed. This guy beat the shit out of me.
He was an OSU gymnast. He was a
that's what they
Division
said
I
too.
OSU gymnast. So, I mean, he was
he was fighting at Alabama at that time.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
So did you
tough,
train
man.
with him, though?
Yeah, he was one of the ones that we got started with at the first gym I was at. But yeah, he was a good dude. He still does martial arts, obviously. He's got.
No, he's a very good dude. Because I've seen him numerous times after those fights, and he was always we kick it.
Yeah.
So
He's
you
pretty cool,
dethroned Bonesaw.
I did.
Joe quickly turned this. He's like, I want to hear the rest of this shit. Fuck you, Tom, and your ass kicking. Everybody beat Tom's ass.
Oh shit! So you beat him the second time, and then booked him the second.
It was the first fight. I had him in mount, and I was raining down punches, and he gave me his arm, so I went for an arm bar. Or no, he went for an arm bar, and I reversed it. And in the second fight, he did I could feel it happening because I was like, he's going to do the exact same thing. So I just kind of let it happen and gave him my arm, and then I ended up picking him up and slamming him, and then got into a rear naked, and he never tapped.
I was going to say, when he slammed him, you should have done that.
Yeah.
Because it always gets tighter, usually. Usually gets tighter.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Like, I was letting it happen because it was like, man, this is the same thing he did in the first fight. And so I slammed him and then got him in a rear naked, and then he never tapped.
So
he was a good dude.
He never learned his lesson.
No.
Is what I'm hearing.
No. It was weird.
So
But,
how many title defenses did you have?
Oh, well, that was 2. And then I think 3 maybe.
Did you get to keep the belt?
No, so that was the BS thing. Is like none of us even realized that at the time. Was that the promotion? The guy at that first gym that we went to, like I said, it wasn't that great of a gym. But he literally only had like 1 belt per thing. When you're supposed to, when you win the belt, that's your
Keep
belt.
it,
Like
yeah.
you keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have any of the belts.
Oh,
But I have. Yeah, I know it sucks. Yeah.
That does suck.
Oh,
But
shit.
he's got pictures with him
I
with the
do
belt.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that's
and
sweet.
strippers.
That's
So you
fucking
need to
awesome.
send me those pictures.
Yeah.
Well, no, like the
Right,
ones
yeah,
of the
for
belt,
real.
so we can
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
behind there,
Yeah.
and fucking people can see. Because anything else, people. Vic's like, I didn't say this is a show. It's a show. Fucking this way, people can see your
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah, all
Because
right.
they sure as fucking gonna see me on the back of
Yeah.
there, getting my ass beat. Even though I do have that footage. It shit ain't happening. It might, but just
That's what we
saying.
should watch next. And watch one of those.
I have to go get
Analyze it.
I have to go get my thing. I actually found my second fight, which I thought I lost.
Uh-huh.
I actually found it. So if Joe had this
Is that
fucking
the-
DVD, I have it on DVD.
I got
And that
it.
was a fight that I should have won, but I gassed out. And I was beating the fuck out of this guy. But I gassed out. And I never gassed out after another fight.
You
again.
learned your lesson.
Oh, dude, there was
Unlike
times.
Bonesaw.
There was times where I was in the yeah, I did because I was like, because gassing out in the fight is the worst feeling ever.
Well, that's like when I was saying at the beginning of the second ring, I'm like, how am I going to fight? Because I can't raise
It's the worst
my
thing
arms
ever.
right now.
He's
Yeah.
gassing out.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, how am I going to fight? And we're like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And this guy is coming
Yeah.
for me. It's the
Yeah.
worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at him, he's got a cut on his head. You're like, I did that. And it's split. And I thought the ref was going to stop it. I'm like, stop this motherfucker! I'm just and I fucking I have it on DVD. But yeah, fucking but it was the worst. But ever since then, I never gassed out. And there was I remember numerous fights where it was the third round, and I was pacing myself the whole time. And I told my corner, I'm like, we got another round after this. He's like, no, we don't. This is the third round. I'm like, really? This is the third round? That's how good a shape I was
Yeah.
back then.
Nice.
Now I can barely bend over and tie my shoe without gassing.
Right. Yeah. That was,
I do. I was waddling down here earlier. I'm like, like the fucking penguin.
Oh,
It used to be
shit.
Batman. Now I'm the penguin.
Heel turn.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I mean, if you got that, we can watch it if you
I
want.
do
You
have.
want to watch it?
What? Your fight?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have to.
Oh.
Vic's like, yeah, I want to see it.
No, I trained with you once, and I was so out of shape when I
Yeah.
came up there. You were in the basement. It was like a dungeon.
Yeah, it was a dungeon.
And then I got all fucking sick, and I had to go upstairs, and I think I threw
Yeah,
up
but he was
a little
putting
bit.
it on me though. Don't let that bullshit. Because he did go.
Because I found out he did it, and I was like, "Oh, cool! You know, I
Yeah.
want to come train with you." But I'd been out of it for like a year or two, and
it was down in
tired.
it was in Fredericktown.
Oh, that's right.
It was in Fredericktown and at Joey's and fucking it was just me and him and his girl at the time and fucking yeah, but it was there was like no airflow.
Yeah.
No airflow
When
at
I
all.
say a dungeon basement,
It's a dungeon. There may have been a fan, maybe one.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was a good
Also,
training session, and I mean he beat the shit out of me. So especially on the ground, like I was like, how is he so heavy?
Well, that's something that like when you wrestle or you fight a wrestler, like they make themselves
Heavy as fuck.
Like it's the weirdest thing ever. Like they know how to put pressure down on you. when
I've
they
met
feel
a
like
fucking
they're-
115 pounder feel like they're 300.
Yeah,
pounds.
yeah, it's
like
weird.
legit. Yeah,
Wild.
they're crazy.
Mhm.
I'm glad I've never fought.
Yeah, but it's an experience.
It is.
It's just
At least
like-
we can call ourselves men.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, like, so I've never done no MMA or anything, but I was doing Muay Thai for a while when I was actually in shape, and I mean, that was probably the funniest fucking thing I ever did.
It's fun.
I remember
yeah.
that the instructor was a police officer. He was a small little dude.
What was his name?
I don't remember. It was on the corner
Grove
of
City?
Hoover and
Strength-
yeah,
oh,
corner
that's
of
where I
Hoover Street.
trained at.
Yeah, that Brazilian
Yeah, yeah.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Dave Freetag.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and
Steve knows. He knows the pain.
Oh, I know. He's like the most unassuming dude.
Oh yeah, he'll
And
fuck
like
you up, though.
I was like my first day, and I was training with him, and I'm just like holding the pads, and I'm like, and he's doing his kicks, and I'm like, I think my arms are gonna break.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I get home, I got bruises. I mean, I had the pads and shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
He didn't help.
yeah.
It's like, what happened? I don't
I
know.
mean, but that was, I mean, honestly, that was probably the funnest thing I ever did.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, good show. Thanks for tuning in to Drunk on the Sun. This is Joe and Tom.
Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody. Like and subscribe.
Thank you all for subscribing and liking from Drunk on the Sun, the podcast about everything and anything under the sun. So check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram. We're posting new shit every week. See ya.